Okay, so I welcome you to this YouTube channel, AJ Everton Networks. What I will be teaching you in this video are I will be teaching you IP routing. IP routing. I will be teaching you I will be teaching you what a routing table is. I will be teaching you static routing, what static routing is, and I will be teaching you what dynamic routing is. Okay, so let's get started. But before we get started, I want you to subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed, so that you will not miss out on the next class where we'll be practicalizing all of these terms and technologies. Okay, so make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on our next content like this, especially if you are aspiring to be a network professional or you're already a network professional and you want to learn more about networking. Subscribe to this channel, drop your question in the comments, like this video, turn your notification on, then you'll be able to see our next content like this. Okay, so let's begin. So what is IP routing? IP routing means exchanging network information between routers. So now, normally, what a router knows is just information about the connected network. What do I mean by that? So let's say we have 3 routers. Okay, let's say we have 3 routers. This is router 1. Let's call this router 2. And let's call this router 3. Okay, so this is a connected network. This is another network. This is another network. And this is a network. Okay, so now, naturally, by default, a router only knows about the connected networks. What do I mean by that? So now, let's say let's call this network 1. Let's call this network 2. Let's call this network 3. And let's call this network 4. Okay, so now, router 1, for instance, only knows about network 1 and 2. Agreed, right? According to my explanation. And router 2 only knows about network 2 and 3. While router 3 only knows about network 3 and 4. That's all. That's all. So now, if people at the network 1, they want to go to network 4, how will they be able to get there? Because this router doesn't know about this, doesn't know about that these guys exist. Router 1 doesn't know that network 3 and 4 exist. So that is where routing now comes in. So the process by which router 2, okay, let me put it this way. For people in network 1 to get to network 4, that means router 1 needs to know about 3 and 4. Okay, so as a result of that, that means router 2 needs to inform router 1 about network 3. Let me repeat that. Router 2 needs to inform router 1 about network 3, right? As a result of that, router 1 we have a record of let me use this pen. We have the record of network 3. So by the time router 2 tell router 1 about network 3, router 1 will now have record of network 3. Okay? And also, router 3 we tell router 2 about network 4. As a result of that, router 2 will also have the record of network 4, right? So now router 2 will tell router 1 again that, okay, I have another network information which is network 4. So router 2 will still tell router 1 about network 4 that he just learned about. So router 1 will have the record of network 4 again. Are you getting it? So now router 1 now has the record of 3 and record of 4. And how to get there is through this link. This is our link. This link. Okay? Through this link. So that whenever people in network 1, whenever they are going to network 4, they can easily send their traffic to this interface. So from this interface to router 2, and from there, you'll be able to reach router 3 and reach network 4. Now, here's the challenge. How will people in network 4, how will they be able to reach back to people in network 1? Meaning router 3 also doesn't know that network 1 and 2 exist. So now, there will be a reverse now, which will now be router 2 telling router 3 about network 2, and also router 1 would have told router 2 about network 1. So router 2 now has record of network 1. So router 2 will tell router 3 about the new network information that he just learned, which is a network 1. It's completed now. So people in network 4, they can easily reach people in network 1. So all what they will have to do is just send their traffic to this interface. Okay, once the information reach here, you'll be like, okay, you are going to network 1. Well, okay, I know about network 1 is towards this direction. Then they'll be able to reach here. So this process by which routers share network information between one another is what is called IP routing. Simple. The process through which router exchange network information, okay, is called IP routing, which I just explained now. Okay? So now, by the way, if you have any question, drop your question in the comments. I will respond to your question. So let's discuss routing table now. So now, this record, they are like map, like Google map of where anybody around this router want to go. It's a record. It's a record. It's a record that is kept by each of the router. Every router used to keep a record. And what is inside that record is just the map, the network that they have learned about and how to get to those networks. So this record, inside the place where it is being kept, the place where this record is being kept on each of the router is what is called routing table. Routing table. So that's the meaning of routing table. I will show you all of this in the practical class. Don't worry. So this is a routing table for router 1. This is the routing table for router 2, and this is the routing table for router 3. Very simple. So that is routing table. So now, how did router 1, how did he tell router 2 about all this information? How did he learn about all this information? It can be done manually or automatically. Manually means, as the network engineer, you will have to configure your router. You will have to input this network one after the other on each of the router about the network available in the environment. So the process of you now manually entering this network, you go to router 1, you enter network 3, you enter network 4, okay, in order to build the routing table for router 1. You go to router 2 as a network engineer, you enter network 4, you enter network 1 in order to build the routing table for router 2. You go to router 3, you enter network 2, you enter network 1. You are manually telling those router the networks that you want them to know about. That process of you manually telling them, configuring them, is what is called static routing. That is why we have what is called static routing. That method of you manually telling the router, configuring the router to learn networks, is what is called static routing. So now, the opposite of static routing is dynamic routing, which means automatically routers are exchanging information. They are just exchanging network information through what is called routing protocols. So what we use in dynamic routing are routing protocols. So when you configure a routing protocol on R1, R2, R3, okay, the popular routing protocols that we have are OSPF, EIGRP, and all of that. So when you automatically configure routing protocol on R1, R2, and R3, immediately you connect those routers together, they will automatically synchronize the network information, the network that they know about, instead of you statically configuring them manually. Okay, so that's the opposite of static routing. Okay, dynamic routing. So far I've covered IP routing, routing table, static routing, dynamic routing in this video so far. So I will be doing the practical, the lab of this lecture that I just delivered right now. There will be a practical class for it. If you want to learn more about the practical class, make sure you subscribe to this channel. And if you have any questions so far from all the explanation, drop your question in the comments. Okay, see you in my next class.